So it took a little bit of time, not too much time, but thanks to good people that still exist in this world, I was able to get a pair. Yo, what's good guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got something that I think is just awesome. It's probably one of my favorite sneakers to release over the last year or two. I really love this shoe. It's rolled out really slowly. It's been really just neighborhood launches, and that includes all neighborhoods. So if you recognize this bag right here, this is from a retailer or a boutique that is over in Shanghai. So thank you to Do Shanghai for not just helping me, but allowing my friend Jay, Shanghai Soul, over at Instagram, the ability to grab a pair for me. And then they said like, oh, who's this for? And he told them, and they were like, hey, let us give him some gifts and stuff. So they sent over like some really cool shirts, which I will wear in a future video. But for right now, I got to plug the upcoming Since launch. So that's why this is here. But yeah, thank you so much to Jay, Shanghai Soul, and Do Shanghai. I just really appreciate it.
You're awesome.
So I know that these are already released, but this is my first time getting them. And again, I'm just gonna do a video. Basically, the box is the same as the red pair. Obviously different accent colors, but you know, one's to represent Chicago, the other one's UNC. And before we keep going, I really love the Chicago everything, but this blue one hits different, man. It just looks so good.
Hubba hubba.
But anyways, these guys right here are called the Every Games because back in the day, MJ would wear a UNC practice short that he got during his UNC days, and he would wear them underneath his Chicago uniform every game. And he did not skip one. They even talked about it in Space Jam. It's one of the key moments in that movie that I vividly remember. And I even talked about in the other version or the other colorway of the shoe, my experience and how I used to wear shorts underneath my shorts every game, but I took it a step further and I wore them underneath everything every day. But anyways, as far as the shoe itself goes, this is the Airship PE. So they are a little bit different from the actual Nike Airship. And for whatever reason, this PE version of the shoe, Jordan Brand seems to have kind of like claimed as their own. So even though this was originally a Nike product back in 1984, it is now considered a Jordan Airship. And then they obviously attached the PE name to it. So I do think that that's kind of funny. I think that it's interesting that Nike even allowed that to happen. Like Nike's pretty, you know what I mean? Like on their trademarks and stuff, but they allowed it to happen and now we get this thing. And the reason why we got this shoe in this version or this way is, in my opinion at least, undoubtedly because of a friend of mine. His name is Marvin. He also has a YouTube channel, MJO23Dan, and he was the one that really like opened the can of worms as far as like what shoe was actually banned. Was it the black and red Air Jordan 1 like the marketing stated, or was it something else that was also black and red that he wore with Chicago uniforms, which ended up being the case. It was really the Airship because the Air Jordan 1 was not actually finished yet. However, that's where this PE comes in because we have an Air Jordan 1 bottom on here, and that's how we ended up getting the Air Jordan 1 with its tooling, because Jordan was using a bunch of different toolings. He wore dunk toolings. He wore, this is after he broke his foot, but there are some pairs of the Jordan 1 that had Air Jordan 2 tooling on there, and they were really just kind of like trying to get a shoe on his feet as quickly as possible, because when they signed him and the time that his first game started, there was not enough time to make his official shoe ready to go for him out the gate. And so again, they made something very similar colors and things like that, and that was the actual shoe that didn't have enough white in it, and they started finding him for wearing the shoe. And then Nike took that as a marketing tactic, and the rest is history. And it's just been a crazy wild ride for 30 plus years. It's about to be 38. That's crazy. That's an old brand.
Shut up.
Oh, hey. Now, as far as the outsole is concerned, obviously, like I was saying, it's very much like Air Jordan 1 tooling. So you got an Air Jordan 1 bottom. If you were to compare this bottom with an 85 cut or a traditional Air Jordan 1, they would be slightly different than one another. Mainly the difference between this tooling and a traditional Air Jordan 1 high OG is that these are a little bit more slim, much like a dunk. However, if you were to compare this to an 85 cut Air Jordan 1 high, this little middle section is just a little bit more elongated. It's slightly different, not anything crazy. Same tech spec, same overall performance. The greatest traction of all time still remains. I do really actually like, though, the weird look. I normally don't like this powdery, kind of like they're old, they've been sitting in a box type of look. This whole shoe, though, does, in my opinion at least, maybe you guys have a different opinion, but in my opinion, I think that this colorway of this shoe, the aged concept really lends itself well to it. Now, the midsole is still a rubber cup sole. We've got that sail or muslin look, whatever it is. It's that cream or off-white. It's a clear contrast between that and the upper, but I do, again, think that it looks looks great. Inside the shoe itself is a polyurethane wedge, and then inside of that wedge is an encapsulated air sole unit. And again, this is different than the original Airship, but the entire tooling is different as well, which they actually talk about within this pamphlet that seems to come with every single pair, although some people have commented being like, hey man, I got my Airships in and they're awesome, but mine didn't come with the booklet. And I'm like, dude, that sucks.
The Sticky Bandits got it.
I think they would have taken the shoe over the pamphlet, but I mean, what,
Not if
what
it
do I
was
know?
the one guy.
Which one, Marv or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do we know these things? It was so long ago. But as soon as you turn the page, you can see the render of the original Airship with the original tooling, and it's got the same tech specs and everything, at least according to this drawing, as the PE version right here. And they have not yet released the original version of the Airship, with the one exception of it was an overseas exclusive. Nowhere in the States though, and it was that original band colorway and everything, so I wish that those would get an actual release, but you know, Jordan Brand. But anyways, the original intent of the Airship was actually supposed to be a slimmed down version of the Nike Air Force One. That was their beefcake model at the time, full length Air, huge thick rubber cup sole. They wanted something a little bit more close to the ground for more of the nimble players in the NBA at the time. So that's what that shoe was originally intended for. And again, MJ used that version in practices and things like that, and eventually just wanted to be a little bit closer to the ground, which is how we ended up with this pair here. And then the upper on these guys is just as fantastic as pretty much all the rest of them. One thing though is that if you don't like that cracked leather, which I actually don't like, it's all over this. The only thing is that I love the colorway so much that it just, I'm kind of like, whatever, man, like it is what it is, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't love that whole like pre-crack look. I will say that it's on my Lost and Founds and I wear those damn near every day. Not a single piece of that cracked like coating or whatever has fallen off or flaked or anything. So it seems to be pretty durable. So in that sense, like if you're worried about that, I probably wouldn't be. It's more of an aesthetic thing. Like if you don't like the way that it looks, you probably won't like this. However, I've gotten kind of used to it or over it, I guess you would say. So it doesn't bother me or anything. The quality of the leather is pretty nice. It's not like premium or anything, but it's pretty thick cuts. It's also fairly soft as well. Not quite as soft as those gray ones, though. That's still probably, in my opinion at least, the best version of the shoe that they've done that I've actually seen. That shoe, as soon as I put it on, it was like broken in already. Every pair of these that I've had to really break them in the beginning, and then they get comfortable. They really start off real stiff, except for that one. That one I put it on, I was like they feel like all my other ones that I've already been wearing and stuff, and they just felt amazing. So if you're looking for a pair as like maybe your entry pair, look at the gray one and you might like it. Now, much like the red version of the shoe, the eye stay and collar and the swoosh panels are all accented with the accent color. And instead of you know, a flipped version where the main body of that red version was suede and then it had the leather paneling, this is the opposite. So this one has leather as the base and suede as the accent. I really like the way that this one looks. It looks really elegant. I think that it looks and feels fantastic. The color blocking that you see here is very reminiscent of that original shoe that was actually banned, which again is the black and red version of the Airship. Most of the other versions that we've seen released, minus these two Every Games, have been fairly basic. They look like the team versions where they're all white. They have a colored collar and the colored swoosh branding, as well as the outsole. One of my favorite parts is actually the accents. So we got the accent with the laces, the tongue tag, as well as the interior lining, and it's just that really dark blue. It looks so good. As far as extras are concerned, they do come with an extra set of laces. These might be a little long, but I think that this should have come with those black cement lows. I think that this sail look would have really like set that shoe off. So I don't know why they didn't do that. But anyways, this is what it looks like. I'm actually surprised they're in a baggie and not in those new little cardboard boxes. So it looks like some releases get one, some get the other. I don't know why, but whatever. And just in case you're wondering, the insole right here is a beefcake of a polyurethane insole. This thing is fantastic. It's the same exact insole that you'll see on the 85 cut version of the Air Jordan 1. I really wish that they would put these in all Air Jordan 1s, but maybe if I complain enough, maybe they'll do it. I don't know. Probably not, because I mean, I've been complaining on YouTube for what, 15 years? Not much has changed. Just know that they need to be broken in. They will be stiff at first because they are so thick, but once you put in some time, put in that love, it'll love you right back. And just like the red pair on the back collar, it does have Every Game stitched or embroidered in there instead of the screen printed Nike Air branding.
They're nice.
Now, as far as sizing is concerned, they do fit true to size. Whatever you typically wear, especially in your Air Jordan 1s, that is what I would recommend. I wear the same size in all my Air Jordan 1s with the exception of the lows, and they fit just like that. Again, give them some time to break in, because sometimes sometimes they're a little bit stiff, but once you do, they will fit really awesome. And they also have this additional flap that's right here at the forefoot, and underneath that is actually a bungee system, and that bungee system flexes just enough so if you do have a wide foot, it should accommodate that. If you have an extra wide foot, you might want to go up half a size because that seems to be the norm. But thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the support. We will catch you guys on the next one. So until then, have a good one.